Hey man, I do what I
Don't
do.
block them. If they got something to say, let them say it. Let them get all of this that's coming. And look, I know we got some people. I ain't finished. I had to get that administrative. Y'all, the thing straight. Y'all hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I don't want to miss the opportunity. Make sure you all subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you learn something at some point, it's cool to contribute to the super chat. Only if you learn something. Don't give me nothing for free. I don't want nothing for free. You see what I'm saying? I only want what I earn. Nevertheless, make sure you do me this. Subscribe to this channel. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep on learning. But anyway, let's get back to the conversation. Do that so I don't have to break my train of thought. You know, I'm getting old. I lose my train of thought. I'll be talking about something else. But what was I saying? Okay. So look, culture is not static. It evolves. So they have a lot of problems with black folks, foundational black Americans, and our culture. You know, they always say that about our culture, right? They always say our culture, there's something wrong with the culture, right? Right? They don't like the fact that they say, well, I'm going to say it like this. We're strong on self-defense. In other words, we'll put hands on you. That's what they say about us, right? Right? Isn't that what they say? Let's speak the truth. We will put hands on you. All right? You will get the Compton stomp if you get out of pocket. Okay? But see, here's the thing. That's necessary. It was a necessary response to historical oppression. It was necessary to survive in a hostile society where we were surrounded by a dominant culture. And on top of that, it's a reflection of American cultural norms. All Americans are violent. Do you know we have more guns in America than we have people? You understand that? See, foundational black Americans were born into a system of extreme violence. From the brutality of chattel slavery, to segregation, to lynching, to police violence. And so because of this, self-defense became a cultural necessity for survival. Enslaved Africans in America were subjected to some of the harshest forms of oppression, including forced breeding. And I talked about that the other day. Public executions. These white folk would sit around and have a picnic and watch somebody be hung. And then afterwards, they bring their children out. Look at some of the photos. They would send postcards around. They would keep the body parts of the person that was hung. This is what I'm saying. That's what a public execution. It was a Sunday football game equivalent. And on top of that, we had to deal with systematic racial terrorism. Even after slavery, the Jim Crow era, the institutional racism, it subjected foundational black Americans to continued violence. And it required us to develop ways to protect ourselves. So, you know, America itself is built on a culture of conquest and warfare, whether we're talking about the Native Americans or the Mexicans or whoever else. Hell, America was born in a Revolutionary War. And foundational black Americans are distinctly American. We naturally reflect that aspect of our nation's identity. And my suggestion is violence or putting hands on people or self-defense, whatever you want to call it. Okay? It's not unique to foundational black American culture because it is an American thing. It is fundamentally American that we will pick up arms, we will defend ourselves, we are self-reliant. Now I want you to contrast that with these immigrants and these these folk from these the Haitians fought one war 200 years ago. And they still think that makes them some kind of way anywhere near where we are. And they're not. See, again, foundational black Americans don't flee oppression. We stand our ground and we fight back against oppression. Look at movements like the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Leaders like Brother Malcolm X, also known as El Haj El Malik El Shabazz. They emphasize self-defense, and that means securing justice for themselves. And they still think that makes them some kind of way anywhere near where we are. And they're not. See, again, foundational Black Americans don't flee oppression. We stand our ground and we fight back against oppression. Look at movements like the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Leaders like Brother Malcolm X, also known as El Hajj El Malik El Shabazz. They emphasize self-defense, and that means securing justice for themselves. We refuse to be victimized, and it led to a strong emphasis of resistance, whether through civil rights protests, legal battles, or even physical confrontation. Look at the history of slave uprisings throughout the United States. And the other thing you have to understand is that we didn't even expect the government to protect us. Sometimes we were fighting against the government. We couldn't rely on law enforcement. Law enforcement by day, Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan by night. You couldn't get justice in the courthouse. So we had to defend ourselves. We had to defend our communities. You had race riots, police brutality incidents, threats from white supremacist groups. And that has contributed over the past 400 or 500 years to the cultural value of handling problems internally and ensuring that the disrespect or harm was met with a strong response. Look, respect is highly valued. And disrespect is going to lead to confrontation when you're dealing with the typical foundational Black American. And this stems from a history of having to endure disrespect from white society, making internal respect within the Black community even more critical. And here's the thing. And I spoke about this, even slight disrespect can escalate to something that's non-negotiable in FBA social dynamic. And that's why we don't disrespect each other like that. Nevertheless, we as foundational Black Americans, we've always fought for our place in society rather than passively accepting injustice. Whether we talk about the slave revolts or the civil rights movement, because I want you to picture something. Imagine if you a white man in a racist little town in Alabama and you don't even like Black folks, and then 3,000 or 4,000 come and try to walk through the center of your class, your town. That might as well be an invading army. So what many of you all don't understand, when you begin to read Dr. Martin Luther King's book, they were expecting to provoke a response. The only thing is they were saying, we're not going to respond back because we want to show the world how mean these people are. But it was definitely an invading army meant to invoke a response. What happens if I'm playing chess and I just gather all my people on the one side? I've taken over that side of the board. That's an occupation. So in response to this occupation, because that's what the civil rights movement was, we're going to occupy their territory, whether it's sitting at a lunch desk or walking down the middle of the street in the day we're not supposed to, and invoke a response. It was an occupation. So I always question whether or not this truly was nonviolent or not. Shout out to Pam C. If you do something that's intended to invoke a violent response, is that truly nonviolence? And see, we've been playing white folks for hundreds of years with stuff like that. That's what we do. We plan, we plot, we win. You see? That's thoughtfulness. That's how brilliant our leaders were. But nevertheless, foundational Black Americans have historically responded to oppression through organized resistance, and sometimes peaceful, sometimes forceful. Okay? But the bottom line is we've always been willing to fight and have fought. On top of that, we've even fought in these wars, domestically and internationally, in the United States, and reinforced that warrior-like identity. So don't ever tell us that we some begging folk, because that's not what we do. You understand? Nope. Now let's talk a little bit about this teasing and bullying. A lot of somebody type African booty scratcher in the chat room. African booty scratcher. That has got them bothered, right? So one of the biggest criticism, are y'all still with me? Are y'all learning something? Make sure you're learning something. If you're learning something, learn something in the chat room. I need to know I'm not wasting my time. Learn something. One of the biggest criticisms from these foreign-born blacks, whether they be Caribbean or African, whatever, Haitian, whatever, is that foundation of Black American culture. They got teased by the children in school, right? And they still bothers them. Okay. But in our culture, we have a tradition of teasing and roasting and playing the dozens. When I was young, we used to call it bagging. Depending on what region of the country, and I know it says shout out to Black saying, depending on what region of the country you're in, like I remember down in Texas, Houston, when I used to come down here, they'll call it capping. And then on the West Coast, we call it bagging. Down in places like Mississippi, they call playing the dozens. Okay. But still, it's the norm. Shout out to William Johnson. All right. Now, these folk who come to this country, y'all call it bullying. And they say it's mean-spirited. They say it's unnecessary. They think it's just pointless insults, petty jokes, right? At each other's expense, hurt their feeling.
The first Indian senator.
Always heard this rumor that she slept her way to the top.
She did. She's old. She's 60 years old.
First step in destroying the Black community is to dismantle the Black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about Black families?
We don't want no dough, give away your vote. Free ski, we president your vote. Fool you once with Obama, now they say Kamala. All these black women, yeah, they think you're slow. Damn right. We don't want no dough, give away your vote. Free ski, we president your vote. Fool you once with Obama, now they say Kamala. All these black women, yeah, they think you're slow.
Most of these women that she locked up for the truancy problems were black women.
You ain't gotta do nothing, Obama, here we go again. White mama, raise a white mama, selling us black skin. You don't f with my friends, I don't f with your friends. You voted for Biden and Kamala, let them all in. Venezuela, Mexico, Ukraine, you was patient. All them white immigrants except for Haitians. Still them all black, what the f you supported the black woman telling black women about aborting. Taught you ladies Christians, Democratic crippin'.
If Jesus can't save these hoes,
We got a point.
why are you trying? What make you think you greater than
I can't say these hoes, why the f you think she listens? You know Planned Parenthood sitting at the border. This is for you black ass women, can I take your order?
Abortion is healthcare. So important that those who are able to really advocate.
Promote the very thing that was meant to wipe out our race.
More money for you, more money for me. Jose, Chico, Rosa, my Latino family. Malcolm said it best, why they sending out black entertainers. They don't do the other races cause they really think we bring this. Wag your finger, curse and shame them. Black men, let's blame them. Gender war, let's tame them. Let's use them racial angles, make them feel them place.